Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thank you for joining us on this quick lesson on Play This and Not That. You know, we did a lesson right before this one, the previous one, where I laid out about a dozen of the most common guitar chords that you're ever going to see, and just some, more interesting options that you could use in those situations. Now, there's a free PDF that goes along with this lesson. The link is in the YouTube description down below, and you're going to need that PDF out in front of you as we go through these exercises. So we're going to cover not only the chords, like we did last time, but this is actually where we're going to go through them, and you're going to be playing along with me together. You know, it's one thing to watch a video, and we kind of fool ourselves, and we watch a video and we think, oh, we've got it. No, you don't really have it until you actually get your guitar in your hands and try and get these things under your fingers, and that's what we're going to do in this lesson. So have your guitar out, print out that stuff, and let's get working. All right, so let's cover what these are just better, more interesting options for these chords that you would need to play on a typical guitar chart. So I'm going to switch over to my acoustic guitar. Take a look at that first one. Now, it's a regular C chord. Every other guitarist on the planet is going to be playing this. And there's nothing wrong with that, but we showed you last time a few more options there, some better options that you can use. One of them is this C2 right here. Another one, and then there's also an inversion there. I'm not going to elaborate too long on these because we covered these in the last lesson. We want to get to the playing part. C7. What can we do over C7? We can play a C ninth and an E half diminished. The reason an E half diminished works over a C ninth or a C seventh is because almost all of the notes are the same. So you can substitute it, even though that E half diminished doesn't have a C note in it, all the other notes work perfect over a C ninth. So it's a rootless chord voicing. So what's next? We got some ones in D. Now, I realize a lot of these forms are going to be unfamiliar to you. Okay, don't let that throw you off. I'll never get them. No, you just got to practice. You got to just do them about another 100 times, and you'll get them. That's kind of the secret to anything, is just repetition. So we've got a D. You take your second finger off. We have a D2. We've got a D5, kind of a power chord. We switch our fingers around here. Another good inversion is a D with an F sharp in the bass. When you see that slash and another letter, that F, that's telling you it's an inversion, not two different chords. You have the chord on top, and then whatever's underneath the slash is just the single note that they want underneath that chord. And these inversions give different colors. D minor. What's a good alternative for a D minor in almost every circumstance? You can play this wonderful D minor ninth, a whole lot more color in it, with a little bit of that minor third and the second kind of rubbing up against each other. Flip the page. E, what do we have for E's? Oh, a couple of good options for an E. We've got this one way up here at the 7th fret. Kind of a power chord if you want to think of it that way. We've got an E2. You stretch out that pink or that pinky. Gives it a little bit more color. Remember, these are all just, you don't have to use these, it's just other more interesting options for you as a guitarist to play to kind of do something more interesting than just the average chords. For an E minor, oh, that's a good E minor ninth right there. Or even this one. The least you could do is add a minor seventh on it. In almost every situation, that's going to be a better option. An F, bar chords. They don't sound particularly great on guitar, and it doesn't give you any open strings, and they're hard to play. What's another option? I could do an F2. Or maybe even... Or this wonderful option here of an F2. One with an A in the bass. Few more, and then we'll get to our practice progressions. F sharp minor. Man, big, ugly bar chord. If I make it into an F sharp minor 11th, I get my open strings and it sounds much more interesting. What about G's? Well, everybody's going to be playing that. You can always add the second. With pretty much any major chord, you can add the second. Or maybe the third in the bass. G with a B in the bass. That's a good option there. Just from the 5th string down. Or maybe even just a G, kind of a power chord G with no third there. What about an A? You can play it like that. You can play it like that. But what's another good option? Take that third finger off, you get an A2. Or do an inversion and add that C sharp, and then see how sweet and wonderful that chord sounds on the guitar? These are just better options in most playing situations that you're going to come across if you start adding some of these contemporary sounding colorful voicings. They just are voicings that sound particularly good on guitar. Another one up here, I just take the top half of an F chord and move that up to the 5th fret. A minor, take my 2nd, 3rd finger, just put them up here at the 5th fret, and I get an A minor 9th. Or I could even do an A2 again. Both of those work. The last one is a B minor, and then B minor 11. Oh, a great option for a minor chord. Generally on minor chords, I can add the 9th, I can add the 7th, I can add the 11th. On major chords, I can add the 2. That generally works. And you can mess around with different inversions. But I know, you know, and I know, let's not kid each other. Just because you've played them once and you got a little YouTube video and a PDF of it, you think, I've got that, I can play just like that. No, you're not. In the heat of battle, you're not going to remember these voicings. Your fingers aren't used to going to them unless we actually get our guitars in our hands and start doing it. So, grab your guitar, take a look at this page 3, or take a look at that first example on the practice progressions. This is the same ones we did last time. We have a C, we have an A minor, a G, and an F. What can we turn that into? Okay, we're going to do a C2. Everybody play a C2? Look at that A minor 9th. These aren't hard voicings, they just may be unfamiliar to you. What about a G5 there, that G? I'm muting out that 5th string. And then I've got an F2. And so look what this ended up sounding like. So let's play the original progression, and then we'll play this one using the better chords. So here's the original progression. You play with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. A minor. G. F. Now let's go to that C2. A minor 9th. G5. F2. Do that again, that progression, C2. A minor 9th. G. Now, you may not be able to keep up with me right then. Perfectly all right. Remember, if you come back and watch this video, you can always go down to the lower, I believe it's the right hand of your screen. There's a little settings gear icon there, and you can slow it down, and you can get it fairly slow. Just because you can't get it the first time doesn't mean you can't get it. Don't. It's just practice. Take a look at the next one. Example 2 on page 4. We got a C, an F, a G, and a C. All right, and then what do we turn this into? We have a C, and then we're going to add that E in the bass, an F2, add the A in the bass, G, with a B in the bass. When I add that third into the bass, go into that C2. It gives that lifting sort of a feel. All right, so let's play that original progression. Here we go, we'll do it together. 1, 2, ready, C, original progression, go. Don't worry about the picking pattern. If you want to just do a whole note, that's fine too. Back to the C. Okay, now let's use the one with the better chords. E in the bass, F2, F2 with an A, G, G with a B in the bass. Now, if you can't quite keep up, here's the game. You don't want to lose your place. So just pick. If you can only do like 2 of those chords in that line, then just play with me where the first one comes in, and then wait for the next one and play that. Okay? You want to always still be in the game. If you just get 2 chords into it and then you just give up, then you're not tracking along with this. And it's the tracking along that's going to be an important skill as we move forward. All right, let's look at the workout examples, which are a little bit further down that page. All right, let's get some practice with some of these other ones. All right, well, here's the original progression, kind of maybe a C blues. We've got a C7 to a big old F7. Oh, it's big, it's clunky, doesn't sound particularly good on acoustic. C7. So this would be like a 1 to a 4 chord to a 1. Okay? And then, but what is a better way to do that? Well, a great blues option for it is for that C7, we're going to substitute in that E half diminished over that C ninth. And then here's a new form, an F 13th to that C9. So look what happens. We ended up with a progression that sounds like this. All right, here we go. Let's play that original progression, and then we'll get into the other one. Let's do maybe kind of a dotted quarter to an 8th rhythm. Da, dot, da, dot. Here we go. A 1, 2, a 1. C7, original, ready, go. F. Back to C. The next progression. Let's repeat that. Do it again. F. Take a look at the next one. All right, so I basically just kind of went down those 12 chords that I did in the first part, and I just made a progression out of each one of those. The next one we come across is a D. A typical progression in that may be a D to another big blocky chord, that B minor, to an E minor, to an A suspended. Great, nothing's wrong with that progression, but let's see if we can spice it up a little bit, make a little bit something more interesting happening. I'm going to turn that D into a D2. All I have to do is take my second finger off. B minor 11th here. E minor 9th. A 7th suspended. Notice how I've also tied it together with an open E is in all 4 of those chords. So here we go. Here's the original progression. You play it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Original. B minor. E minor. A suspended. Okay, let's look at that better progression. D2. B minor 11th, E minor 9th, A7 suspended, do it again, back to D2. Do you hear how much more interesting that progression is? E minor 9th, it's putting the guitar in a register that it sounds the best, with a lot of open strings. Take a look at the next one. We have a D minor chord. Then, let's say it goes to an A minor. Okay, D minor to an A minor. All right, well, what else could we do? All right, this is easy. Instead of using 3 fingers for each chord, we're only going to get down to 2. We're going to turn that D minor into a D minor 9th. Up here at the 5th position, and then at the A minor 9th, we're still at the 5th position. We're just going to go on the 3rd and 4th strings. Those 2 chords, just practice jumping between the 2 of them. All right, so let's play that original progression. 1, 2, go 3, go 4. Another measure. A minor. here comes that other progression. A minor ninth. Back to D minor ninth. A minor ninth. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, take a look at the next one. Let's get to some E chords, okay? Well, what do we have here? We've got a 1 chord, the E. This is example number 4. Then we have a B. Oh, man. A bad chord made even worse by a bar. C sharp minor. They just keep getting worse. C sharp minor. Then an A. Now, I wish I could say that's not a progression you're going to see all the time, but it is. That's a very common progression in the key of E. The 1, the 5, the 6, and then going back to a 4. Those are kind of the 4 main chords in the key of E. And so we got to figure out a more creative way, a better sounding way to get from those chords, get around those chords. So here's an option, okay? Instead of the E, we're going to do this E5. One of our options on the previous pages earlier on. And now I'm just going to move this shape, this little power chord shape here that I have at the 7th position, I'm just going to move it down to the 2nd position. And that turns that B into a B suspended. 9 times out of 10 is going to work fine. Now just scoot it up 2 frets, and now it's at the 4th position. I've got these open strings ringing, creating a much more interesting sounding C sharp minor 7th, and easier to play, by the way. Then we're going to go down to an A2, which, if you want to think about it, is just the same type of chord, it's just now off the neck and you have to switch your fingers around. All right, so we've got a much more interesting sounding, very much more guitar-friendly progression. All right, so let's take a look at this. Start at the first one. We'll do the original one first. 1, 2, 3, 4. E. B. C sharp minor. A. Here's the better progression. 7th position. 2nd position. 4th position. Open position. Do it again. Do that one again. 7th position. Oh, do you hear it? Just puts the guitar in a better voicing. It just sounds better on guitar. All right, flip the page. Now, the regular open positions that we play in, those chords that we learned when we were first starting guitar, those are great, and those are fine. These are just, as you're growing, these are some ones that are going to sound a little bit cooler, and you'll be able to differentiate yourself from the average guitar player, the guy that's sitting next to you. Take a look at number 5. This is on page 6, example 5. We have an E minor. Let's do some E minor ones. We got an E minor. We got a C, D, E minor. Very common progression in E minor. What can we do with that? Well, we've got our fancy E minor 9th. Let's maybe, everything on this one, let's maybe stop on that 2nd string, just for fun. C2. Last time we talked about if I take a C shape and just move it up 2 frets, I get this fancy D suspended. With that open string ringing out, then back to the E minor 9th. All right, so let's play the original progression. 1, 2, ready, go. C. D. Good sounding progression. Let's see if we can make it better. Do it again. Just stay right there. C2 now. D suspended. E minor ninth. Oh, it just has such a more colorful, rich sound. Let's do a couple more. F, number 6. All right, F. Terrible. D minor, a B flat, hard to play. C. And yet, this is the key of F. This is a key you're going to have to play in a lot on guitar, and it just doesn't land very friendly. What can we do to make it sound better and be a little bit easier to play? I'm going to take that F, and I'm going to make this little F2 out of it. Up here at the 3rd position, and I'm going to bar just 4 strings, not all 6 like we were doing up here, just 4, and I'm going to create this little F, and then the C, and the F, and then the high G. I've got my D minor ninth. Now wait a minute. On the previous chords earlier on, I showed you this F2. Kind of an F2 with an A in the bass. Well, if you want to think about that, it's got an open string on the 5th, an open string on the 3rd string. If I wanted to, do that in other places, I'd have to bar where it's open. I end up with this sort of a shape. So if I put that up here at the 5th fret, and I'm just playing the inside 4 strings, I've got a B flat 2 with a D in the bass. But Steve, you didn't teach us that. Hey, it's the same thing as an F2 with an A in the bass, which is written out. You're just putting your finger as the bar there. So I have that B flat 2 with a D in the bass. And then for the C, I'm going to play a C2 with an E in the bass. Just scoot it up 2 frets. Now, these are some bars, so that's going to be a little tricky if you're not used to bars. But let's see how they sound. Let's see how it changes the whole sound of it. So let's play that original progression first. 1, 2, original progression, and ready, go. D minor. B flat. C. Now let's make this better progression. D minor 9th. B flat 2 with D in the bass. Do it again, F2. Oh, wonderful. Take a look at the next one. A. Let's do some things in the key of A. All right, A. We've got an A. We got an F sharp minor. We got a B minor. Another big bar B minor. And an E. The A, I'm going to turn into an A2. The F sharp minor, I'm going to avoid that bar altogether and just make it into an F sharp minor 11. B minor, I'm going to avoid that bar and make it into a B minor 11. And then you can play over that E. You can play maybe an E sus, or maybe even E2, if you can reach out for that. So let's do that. Let's go to the original. 1, 2, A, ready, and ready, go. F sharp minor. B minor. E. Now the better progression. Do it again, A2. Take a look at the next page, the last example here. We've got a G, we've got a C, a D suspended maybe, maybe an E minor. Again, all common chords in G. Okay? What are some things we could do? Well, let's try some different things. Let's do a G with a B in the bass. Remember, just from the 5th string down, I'm not hitting that 6th string. And then a C2. Notice how this high G on the 1st string is in all of these chords. D suspended. E minor 7th, and I'm going to switch the inversion around, or switch the voicing around to this. All right, so take a look at that original one. Let's play it. 1, 2, original, ready, G, ready, go. C, D suspended, E minor. Let's get the better progression. E minor 7th. Now the G with the B in the bass. I really emphasize that 5th string B on this one. E minor 7th. There you go. A little bit of a workout on these chords. Remember, it's not just playing through them once that's actually going to get them where you know them and your fingers are going to go to them. It's working through them. And so hopefully this gives you a little bit of practice doing that. If you're a little fuzzy on the forms, go back and look at that lesson that we did before. Now, if you like kind of this, what I'm teaching you, this kind of chord substitution trick, I did a whole series on this called the money chords. These are the chords that sound the best on guitar, the money chords. And we talk about these shape chords, like we did on that E one. We talk about all these different inversions and all of these type of chords that make the guitar sound its best. So if you're interested, the link for those workouts is in the YouTube description down below. On those workouts, I give you 3 different workouts. One for when you're just kind of learning the new chords, and then they each get a little bit more advanced each time. And I think we even have a live band that's playing with us, if I remember right. It's a great thing. If you're looking to take your guitar playing to the next level and learning these better sounding voicings on guitar, then check that out. Check out the Fretboard Workout Series on the money chords. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thank you for joining us on this lesson. Learn all you can, and we'll see you next time.